Heidi Harriet. Welcome to HorseTrix. HorseTrix is a step-by-step trick horse training program that will allow you to train your own horse to do some fun tricks. Well, I'm happy to have you here. Let's get started. Hello. On this episode of HorseTrix, we're going to be dealing with a horse that participates in rodeos and has one speed, fast. The trick we'll be training this week is mounting the pedestal. Stay tuned for more HorseTrix. I love performing with my horses, but my work isn't always glamorous. And when I do chores, I love my custom engraved Fireborn gloves. You're watching Heidi Harriet Presents HorseTrix. Well, as always, we want to refresh the basics because we have to have a good foundation to do our trick horse training. We want to have a safe environment. So I want to review the principles of training. Again, post these in your barn and refer to them before every interaction with your horse. Safety first, patience, capability, consistency and clarity, repetition, reward, discipline, and we want to progress as we go along. Okay, so you want to have a horse that has a good phase 1 and phase 2 training, which is the foundation. They should have good manners. They should be able to lead and tie, bathe, stand for the farrier. And then you want to have some fundamentals, the groundwork, lunging, round penning, backing up, turning on the haunches and forehand, desensitizing with your tools, and a basic walk, trot, and canter if you're riding. So if you have all that, you're good to go to do your trick horse training. Well, today I want to introduce you to someone here to help us. This is Michael and Josie, little paint mare here, and they're going to help us demonstrate some of the fundamentals that we're talking about. Now, I know Michael does a little bit with rodeos. He likes to barrel race. He likes to go fast, and apparently she likes to go faster, from what I understand. So we're gonna deal with that a little bit and see if we can work on slowing her down. She's got a lot of energy, and we were just talking about the fact that the person before him was a little uncomfortable with her because she's a hot horse and she likes to go. Well, that's all well and good, but it has to be in a monitored way to make sure everything's safe. And in his case, when you're doing barrels or you're in the rodeo and he does the flag drills in the rodeo, the horse starts to go so fast they lose the pattern. They start cutting corners, they're going so fast. And you were also saying it looks like you're pulling on them all the time, and of course something we don't necessarily want to do. So what I'm encouraging to do, I want to see what we got going on here. So I'm going to ask him to lunge Josie a little bit and see what we got going on, and then I have a better idea, and then we're going to have him ride and see just how fast you go. All right, so go ahead. There's a whip for you and a lunge line, and let's have you just do a little lunging. And I haven't met Michael and Josie before. This is my first introduction to them, but this will help me get an idea of what we got going on. She's all tacked up and looking beautiful. Good. Very nice. She bends around really nicely. She's not heavy on the lunge line, which I like. And one of the things Michael and I were just talking about, you can have your tack on and your saddle and go ahead and put your reins right over the horn. Or if you have an English saddle, you can take your reins and draw them right up under the stirrups and have a little bit of collection as you're working with your horse. It's really a nice way to go. She moves along nicely. And then line her up and have her go the other way if you're comfortable with that. Good. Good girl. and he's going to send her around the other way. To do that, he's actually going to switch the snap on the lunge line. Go ahead and send her off the other direction. Good. Now right now she's got a nice easy demeanor. I can see where she would easily, she's very nimble and a horse that would pick up speed pretty easily. And this tells me a lot about the horse. Michael and her obviously work well together. He's got a good rapport with her. He's lunging her nicely. And so the next thing we're going to do is have him ride. So we'll be right back. We'll get Michael mounted and we'll take a look at our little speed demon here, Josie. Every day I get questions from viewers via email and on my website. And today I'd like to address one that I got from Ann in Wisconsin. She wanted to know how I'm able to work with my horses in all the settings that I'm in, including sometimes being around circuses where there are elephants or wild animals, and also on fairs where there's just a lot of commotion, a lot of banners and movement and rides. Well, it's like everything else I talk about, it's putting in the time on the foundation. I need to make sure that my horses have a real solid foundation. And then when I'm out in environments where there's a lot going on, I embrace that and I encourage my horses to do the same. Instead of being very tentative myself and making my horses nervous about the scenario, I try to have a very calm demeanor and encourage them just to go through it and nothing will happen to them. It's kind of like if you have children and you're out with your children and something approaches them and they get nervous, they're in an environment they're not comfortable with. We just encourage them to settle down and let them know everything's going to be okay. We need to do the same thing with our animals. They're guiding off of you, so we definitely need to introduce them to the new things, but we need to do it in a very calm manner and allow them to recognize that I'm telling them this is okay, and then we just keep moving forward. Again, there's no magic bullet. You got to put in the time on the front side and the foundation. Don't be too tentative. Let them embrace it, show them that everything's going to be fine, let them follow your lead. So I hope that helped. You can always email me your horse-related questions to Heidi@HorseTrix.com. Okay, so Michael's mounted up on Josie here, and we're going to have him do a little exercise and see what we got going on. She doesn't really even like to stand to get mounted, so we've been talking about that. She likes to dance around a little bit. So I'm encouraging Michael to be pretty stern with her and say, whoa, or stand. And this goes back to using your voice commands and using them effectively. If you're getting ready to get on your horse and you say, whoa, whoa, and you don't change your tone of voice, it's just gonna go right by them. They're gonna become numb to what you're saying. So when you use a command, your voice commands, make sure that you use the inflection and tone and volume that you need. So if a horse is dancing around, you want to give him a little tug and say, whoa, ho. You can be that stern. It's important that they know exactly what you expect of them. Again, be very clear about what you expect, and then you can discipline them for what they're not doing, but they need to know, be very clear about what you're asking. So he's all mounted up. So go ahead and ride off and show me what kind of exercises you do to get ready, you know, to kind of get ready to do some of your drills and that type of stuff. Now she's got an antsy way about her. You can see her already swishing her tail. She's got her head up a little bit and she's just ready for him to cluck, and she is ready to go. Now again, this horse does barrels as well as flags. Like in a rodeo, the flag ceremony, they come cantering in at full speed with flags. And when I talked to Michael, that was one of the things he was concerned about, that this horse doesn't have a speed other than fast. And that's typical of horses that do that. I rode in a drill at a dinner theater and we did a flag drill, and those horses knew what was coming before the curtain opened, and they sat back on their haunches and they took out of there like a shot. And there was very little guiding them or slowing them down. But there are a lot of exercises you can do to make sure that the horses slow down a bit. So right now he's just doing a nice little trot. He walked off, now a trot. And you can see she's kind of ready to go. She's got her head out there. All he has to do is ask her once, and I imagine she'll go 100 miles an hour. I think with her, I'd spend a lot more time on her on slower, very methodical movements. And I'd like I'm going to have you do in a minute, I want you to do kind of just a 2-track or a half pass. So what you're going to do is ride down the rail and just ask her to move over about 5-6 steps, go forward, and then come back. Just nice little trots. So that what we want to do, what I'd like to see you do and I think would be helpful, is to change your mind. Put her in a different, almost like a different discipline, if you will, because we're getting her ready, you're warming up to get ready for barrels or flags. So we're kind of doing the same thing over and over again, and we all do that, trust me. But so what I want you to do is really think about changing her mind, and that's where trick horse training would be really valuable with her. She's obviously a smart horse, she pays attention, she's sharp. So I think you're going to have some fun training tricks with her, and I'm looking forward to doing that in a little bit. So what I want you to do, if you would, is come around me and ride up this rail. And I know you said you hadn't done this before, but let's give it a try. Okay. So go ahead and ride around me, get on the rail, and start off just on a nice little trot. And what I'd like you to do first as you're trotting along the rail is do what we call a volte, a circle. So it's and you want to do it, the goal here is to get the same cadence in the circle. We want them to keep the same trot as they're trotting off. So have her trot. No, trot straight ahead for me. Good, trot her off. Good. Now just do a circle. Nice circle, keep her flexed, good, keep her. Now keep that same cadence. Try to kind of there, very nice. Good, go trot on. Now do the same thing again. Good. This is a really good exercise because they never know when it's quite coming. Do it again, and then when you get to the corner, turn around and come back and do your circles the opposite way. One thing we always have to be careful about too, there you go, come back down the wall, is making sure we go the opposite direction, give equal time. A lot of times when we're riding a horse, they go one direction, they're on one lead as a canter. There we go, nice. And don't be afraid to pull your, in this case, your left rein and really kind of flex her head around as you're coming. There you go, flex that head nicely and there, keep, yep. And the goal is not to make too tight of a circle, but to have a nice flex. Go ahead and flex, good. And keep that same little, nice little, and you want to do a lot of these as you're going along. Now again, turn and go back up the rail, and I want you to do the little 2-track over and back, okay? So do half a circle this time. And now put your leg against her and see if you can move her over to the wall. There you go. Now come towards me a little bit. Just put your left leg on her. There you go, good. Good, now straight ahead, now back over. Track back over. See, these are great exercises for her because she's expecting some other stuff. Well, that was nice. She did a nice job. I can see where she cuts corners and she does like to go. And a couple times when you were pushing her and telling her easy, she would either throw her tail or throw her head a couple times. So I see where your dilemma is. Again, I think the best course of action for you would be to go back doing some drills and even cantering, the same exercises you did up the wall around the arena, do those even at a slow canter. But don't let her go and start to develop that lightness and using your legs a little bit more so that you can push her over. Because I know we do want a flag horse to go fast. It's exciting, it's what people want to see when they're watching that type of thing. But we need to balance that with making sure that the horse just doesn't always go fast. And you're doing barrels on top of it, so I know you've got a lot going on. So I would encourage you to do a lot more exercise. I do more round penning and lunging, and here's why. Because you're riding the horse right now. The ground exercises go a long way towards establishing your control and connection with the horse. So having your horse in a round pen like we've done in other segments and making her do exactly what you're looking for, the walk, the trot, the canter, changing, turning, and then coming to you, is going to show that you're in charge and in control. We can love our horses, we can have a great time with them, but somebody's got to be in charge of the relationship. And then you want to fake her out a bit, get to the arena with your flag, pretend you're going to go running out there and do it, and go out there and do something totally different. And then she's never quite going to know what we got going on. Once she gets into it, you're still going to have to be able to slow her down and control her. So you need to be able to have a little bit more lightness and maybe use a little spur just so that you have, again, fine tuning. We're not using them to make her go faster or hit her. You might find out you get a more comfortable ride because you're not having to use your legs. You can kind of fine tune her around the corners and that type of thing. So that's what I would suggest for you. And again, just to be safe and have more fun with your horses. So, nice job, Michael. When I have a problem with my horses, I use the best, Shriners. And here's Zach Shriner.
That's right, Heidi. Shriners is the safest, most effective, most natural product you can buy. If you want the best for your horse, get Shriners. Naturally perfect, be confident, get Shriners.
Ride safe, be prepared, get Shriners. You're watching Heidi Harriet Presents HorseTrix. Well, now we're going to train the mount on the pedestal, and I've enlisted the help of Lady Dancer to demonstrate this. So, come on, lady, show them how to get up right up on the pedestal. Hup. Good, ho, just like that. Whoa, a beautiful mount on the pedestal. Now we're going to show you how to train this trick with Josie. Well, now I'm going to show you how to train the trick. And this is Josie. We saw Josie earlier in the show with her fast speed running around the arena. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is remember what tools and tack you need. So for this, again, we always like our webbing halter. I've got a set of reins. We do need a lead rope for this trick. I have my little dressage whip. I have some treats. All right, and as far, she doesn't need to be tacked, but we just came out of the other session, so I wanted to show you what it's like when we just leave their tack on them. That's fine as well. Okay, as far as we need the pedestal, and on my website there's a lot more information at HeidiHarriet.com about various pedestals, that type of stuff that you can use. As far as location, you want to be in an area that's fenced, so if the horse gets away from you, you're not chasing them far. And for this trick, we want to be right up against a fence if we can. Put the pedestal right up against it, have the fence on your right-hand side. Keeps the horse from swinging around out there. They kind of got to go forward or this side. All right, so we're ready to go. Now, as far as my position, again, I'm going to be more in a position of leading the horse for this trick because I'm going to let them come up, take a look at the pedestal, then I'm going to use my little dressage whip to tap them forward and encourage them to step right up. So let's give that a try. Come on up here, Josie. I'm going to let her put her head down and look at it so she knows something's there. I'm going to take my whip and tap her and ask her to step up. Hop. Step up, hop. Nope. Okay, so they're going to try to jump over it. That's fine. She's still nice and behaved. What I really like about this horse, she has a good foundation. Michael's done a nice job with her. So she's not all antsy. This is fine. You do want to make sure you stay safe. So stay beside the horse at all times. Do not get in front of the pedestal and try to pull them up. That's an unsafe position. Back up. We don't want you to do that. You want to stay beside the horse. So Josie's not a horse who's readily going to step up on the pedestal. That's pretty common. We could keep going with that, but there's actually an easier way to accomplish the same thing. So I want to show you that. So we're going to add to our tools and tack. We're going to include our single hobble, which is on Josie's front left leg, and our lunge line right here, our soft cotton lunge line. And I've had another person come in here to help Michael because you're going to need another person for this. Sometimes too, the person helping might want a pair of gloves. Okay, so what we're going to do, Michael, you're going to grab the end of that lunge line for me. I'm going to take this snap right here and snap it right onto the hobble on Josie's front leg. Now what I really like about this horse is I was able to put the hobble on and we're having her stand here and she's not jumping around. She's really got a good foundation, as I always talk about, so important, and you've done a really nice job with her, so we can have some fun doing some trick training. Now I want you to go to the end of the rope. Again, I want you in a safe place, so if she jumps forward, you're out of the way. And what I'm going to do is walk her up, put her leg up here, and then I'm going to ask you to back up and hold it in place, okay? So this is what it looks like. Come up here. Good. Okay, so now I want to put her foot, I'm going to get her off balance just a little bit. Now you pull that for me. Good. Ho. Good. And don't let go of that. And I'm going to ask her to step up. Good. Ho. Whoa. And don't be too tentative here. Don't be afraid to give them a little jerk and say, whoa. Once they get up here, they're generally pretty comfortable. but be careful, make sure you're out of the way if they start dancing around. This is absolutely perfect. I'm very happy with this. Good girl, Josie. She's looking around. She's already forgotten about the pedestal. So I have her up here. I want her to say ho. Stand right up beside her. Now you're gonna come in. I'm gonna release the hobble. Good. And now I want to bring her off the pedestal. Now I want to make sure I use a release cue for this. So I'm gonna say all right and bring her sideways, not forward. Here we go. All right. Just like that. Well, that was excellent. I'm very pleased with the way that went. And when we come back, I'll give you a few more tips about mounting the pedestal. Hi, I'm Heidi Harriet, and I'd like to introduce you to HorseTrix. It's the best thing I've found to keep my stalls smelling fresh. A daily misting of HorseTrix not only keeps my stalls odor-free, it actually eliminates the dangerous ammonia vapors that can be harmful to our horses' health. Since I know you care about your horses and pets as well, get HorseTrix. Go online and check out the Heidi special. You're watching Heidi Harriet Presents HorseTrix. Now, you can practice this trick 3 or 4 times a day if you have a chance. If not, at least probably about 8 to 10 times a week. And you still want to use your hobble a little bit. By the end of the first week, you should be able to take the hobble off and be able to walk them right up onto the pedestal, okay? So initially, you're going to need another person. Remember to keep them at the end of the rope. Now, as far as pedestals, there's a lot of options available. You want to make sure you have a pedestal that flares out at the bottom a little like this, because that keeps it steady. On my website, I have more information about pedestals, so you can check that out at HeidiHarriet.com. So there are 2 ways to get on the pedestal. One or the other should work for you. And again, if your horse is jumping around an awful lot, you need to go back and really work on the basics a little bit more. This was great. She's a hot horse, but she did a nice job on this. So now what happens from this, you put your horse on the pedestal down the road. We have them salute with one leg. You can ride them or they're up on the pedestal and you have your nice flag. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen once we get the pedestal down. They can even step up with all 4s, the famous end of the trail. So there's a lot that can happen, a lot of fun to be had. And I know you're gonna have a lot of fun with this horse. And it's just what she needs to get her mind off going 100 miles an hour all the time. Our training tip this week is using your training aids, including the hobble. In our segment today on the pedestal, we actually put a hobble on Josie to get her to step up on the pedestal. I want you to be comfortable with your training aids, including the hobble. It'll make your horse more comfortable. Being able to put these on and utilize them, whether it's a hobble, lunge lines, or even your whips, your tools. They're all training aids, they're all important. The goal is to utilize them on the front side and start to wean the horse off of them and be able to get the finished product without any of the training aids. Then we have a finished trick. So don't be afraid of the training aids. Use them to help you out, to get results. A lot of times it makes it go a lot easier. Our training tip of the week. Well, I hope you had some fun today. I know we had some fun with Josie and saw her slow down and get up on a pedestal. Well, as always, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your horse training journey. And remember, happiness is horses.